I do this right.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
It's recording.
On Facebook. Let me see if I did this. Something's happening to the screen.
You have your virtual background on?
Hold on one second. I have to log into Facebook. Can you tell mine doesn't work well because of my office?
Yeah, because you need like a blank canvas. And mine doesn't work well on this computer. It tells me that I need a green screen, which is weird, but whatever.
All right, give me 1 second. My Facebook. Preparing live streaming preview. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Sorry, my computer's slow.
That's okay.
Oh, hold on, sorry.
I feel like we need like music.
I know, I have to work on like a little song number to like get it
a little
going.
music to come into.
All right, says, hold on.
We're streaming.
Are we?
On Facebook.
Is it real?
It's real.
Oh my gosh, it's happening? I can't find. Oh, yay. Wait. Can you see the questions?
No, I can't see anything because I'm not on Facebook right now.
Okay. Well, happy Friday as we figure this out together.
Happy Friday. You know what, though?
What?
I was talking about this with a colleague today. Like, I get that everyone's like, Happy Friday. But all my days feel exactly the same.
Yeah. It's hard because I said that to I was saying that. I'm like, I don't know if it's Happy Friday anymore. Like, I don't know if that exists.
Like, Tuesday, I thought it was Wednesday. You know, all my days feel exactly the same.
I know. So before we get rocking and rolling, I'll just do a little intro. Welcome to Friday Night Feels, yay, our second show. And I have the amazing Jess Williams with me tonight, who is a multi-hat wearer person in our community and a good friend of mine. And she and I were talking about, not just about the pandemic, but we were just talking about what it's like to be a spouse or a partner and a teacher or a business person and to be a mom. And Jess wears a lot of these hats, so I thought it would be a perfect night just to kind of have her come and join and say, what has it been like during the pandemic for you? And hopefully be able to relate to some of the people that, we're streaming to that are watching this. So, Jess, I'm so excited you're with us tonight. I wish we had some music, but in my soul, is there enough music for all of us?
Or, like, next time, can you, like, throw glitter as I enter the room?
Listen, I just got this to work functionally, so let's not push it. You have children, get them to do something. It's Friday night. Have them throw glitter.
Next time I want to like throw glitter this way so I could like dazzle in.
You're already glittering to me, friend. You're already there. So
thank goodness for Zoom touch up.
So we survived another week in the pandemic of 2020. I feel like that's how we have to frame this. Of being able to say, hey, We are here. Oops, someone's joining us. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing. I'm doing. I'm doing well. You know what? I am trying to find the balance and trying to set boundaries for myself. Because I found that it is very easy. So I've never ever had to like work from home before.
Right.
Because I've always had like a hands-on type of job. When I wasn't teaching, I was working with teenagers. When I wasn't doing that, like I've never had a job where I could like just work from home, other than like bringing paperwork home to work on. So it was really difficult. I'm still navigating, but to find that balance and creating those boundaries for myself. So I am not working all hours. I'm not like checking email all day, just little things like that. Right. So that itself has been a process to navigate, as well as having my own children at home. So I have 3 kids, and I have a very large age range, so 16 to 6. The 16-year-old, I don't have to worry about her at all. The 13-year-old, he's 13, so I have to check in. And the 6-year-old, I have to guide along the way, which because he's 6, like I don't expect anything any different. But it's all about finding that time in between to give him that, that one-on-one time that he deserves, and to kind of help him with his schoolwork. So.
And it's interesting because you and I were talking about this. Of you are in education system, so this is your area of expertise. It's what you know. But someone made an interesting comment to me of, even if you're in the education system, it's a really profound experience for children to go from going to school, if they go to school, and to have their parents, and then to have their teachers, and then all of a sudden having to learn how to see their parents as their teacher.
Right.
And I was just wondering, like, what are your experiences with that? Because it's a hard transition for the parents, but it's also hard for the kiddos who are trying to get a new relationship with their parents. I find it's really tricky.
It is tricky. And I know like the first couple, so we're in, gosh, my daughter said today, we're going into week 7, I believe, or we're in week 7. I don't know. I've lost track, honestly. But the first couple of weeks, I was home with the kids alone. Right. And then there was one week where we were supposed to have spring break, and we had travel plans. So my husband was off, and I said, oh, this is great. You can do all of his work with him, and I can get my stuff done. Not quite. So, of course, he didn't understand everything. He's like, how do I log into this? What do I do? This makes no sense. And I'm like, buddy, welcome to my world. Like, you've left your desk for the day, and now you're dealing with what I have to deal with. Like, we're all going through this learning process together. So even then, I'm still like trying to show him how to navigate things. And but it's difficult because that first day that he was home, my 6-year-old had to write something, and he says, okay, I want you to write this sentence. And my son's like, I don't do that. She don't let us do that in school. I can't do that. And he's like, you're gonna write it right now. I was like, oh my gosh. It's a totally different approach with me. And I'm like, well, why can't you write it? Well, let me help you. I'm gonna write the first letter and you write that, because that's my area of expertise, right? But he is totally different. He's very black and white. And, it's like, what do you mean you can't? You're going to do it because I said you're going to do it. So, and I am also to the point where I'm not pushing. Like, I had this huge, I should have brought it over, but I made like this huge schedule. My sister was even laughing at me because she was like, this is a tight schedule. I can't believe you. But like from 8 o'clock, everything was planned out to the minute, to 2:45, and then the kids could do whatever they want. And it got to the point where about week 5, I was like, you know what, kids, sleep as long as you want. There's no reason for you to be up at 8 o'clock. There's no reason for the whole group of us to do yoga at 8:30. Like I'm not fighting with you anymore. I can't do it. And you know what? It's quiet when you're not up, so I'm okay with it. So I'm compromising. I'm compromising.
Right. Well, it's hard because I feel, for a lot of people, because I know other people have done similar systems to that and they come up with the agenda. I think the intention is if I have some normalcy, my kids and I will feel a little bit safer in a world that no longer feels safe for a lot of us.
Right.
And, I've talked to so many people where even though they're doing okay or they're safe or their loved ones are, there's still this overwhelming anxiety of we don't know what's going on.
Right.
But if we can give those kids, some structure, that idea of, all right, we got to keep going, we got to keep going. But then I also think we have to have that time to process, hey, wait, this isn't normal. This isn't what we're used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's hard to figure it out. And it sounds like you're doing some great work of saying, all right, this is the battle I'm going to choose. And this one I'm just going to let go.
And honestly, especially with my 16-year-old, because this is her junior year, she's looking forward to senior year. And there's just a lot of memories to be made during those high school years. And I've always said that to her. I'm like, this is high school. This is fun. It's supposed to be fun. Enjoy it while you can. And we have this happen where she can't see her friends and she's missing a lot of things. So there has been a day or two where I've said, you know what? I'm taking your laptop for the day and you just need to chill. You'll get the work done when you get the work done.
Right. I'm just doing a quick shout out to Christy, who said hello to us tonight.
Hi.
So we're glad you could join us. If anyone has any questions or comments or your own experiences, please just put them in the text box and I'll share them, with Jess and then be able to share them with everyone else. That was actually one of the things that I said with someone recently of certain grades, I think can transition a little bit smoother, but there are certain areas where they're losing, like seniors in high school. A lot of seniors they don't get to have that graduation, per se, or whatever they might do, but right now we don't know. Juniors, a lot of times they're not going to get a prom.
Right.
And then some of the moving up ceremonies of just kind of, we talked about this in the last show of that grief.
Right.
That,
yeah.
Hey, we lost something here.
In all honesty, I don't think that it won't happen. Like I don't foresee that the school will say, hey, you just don't have a prom. And I don't foresee the school saying, hey, you're just not going to have a graduation. Because I think they're all working really, really hard to try to have some normalcy for the kids, right? Yeah. But it's just about when. And I think especially as teenagers, some of them can be very rigid where they had thoughts about when things are supposed to happen. And that just throws everything off. Like we bought a dress in January for prom.
Right.
So like, with the exception of like getting the heels and everything else, we were kind of ready for it. And I mean, a change of date is a change of date. And I just try to stress to her, you're healthy and that's really all that matters right now. You'll have another prom. And even if the school isn't able to give you that prom when they can, you can always have your friends over for a party. Like, there are so many different options that we can kind of work around to make sure that you guys get what you need. But right. I foresee that the schools will do what they can to make it happen because I know that they feel the same way too.
Yeah. And it's also, like you said, it's all about safety and kind of just dealing with it. And also I must, wonder, in schools when students have those, special needs or different things like that, or, the social network is really difficult because all of a sudden that's gone, their world is gone. That might be, for some students, it's interesting. Some students' school is their vein of existence. And for other people, if home isn't that great or, that's where their connection is at school, that's where their services are, their supports, special needs, additional counseling, all those different things are kind of just taken away.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that everyone everywhere, like I could definitely say for our district, and for other districts in the area, because I've heard really, really good things about like other schools, and everyone's jumping in where they can, and making contacts with families and trying to keep things as normal as possible. And it just sucks. It sucks that we can't be face to face, and you can't do counseling face to face, or you can't receive speech the way that you normally would. But I think the fact that like these schools are even trying to like Zoom and do video conferences and all those things, I think that's quite amazing. And the fact that they were able to do it so quickly. They were able to transition so quickly and give the kids what they need.
And one of the things that I've heard a lot of teachers, at least in this area, doing kind of like Zoom parties, not so much about education, but like, hey, I miss you. Because like, obviously if these people, not just teachers, but everyone in the school, you don't go into this field, to not be with the kids. So it's that loss too, like not just talking about the kids, but the educators are losing that connection, because that's what, I mean, just like you, that's why you do this. That's what you've dedicated your life to. And that's hard, because what, you and I have talked about is, you're the wife, you're the mom, you're the teacher, but you're also a woman and a person of, holy crap, this is happening to me too.
Right.
Your life has been thrown upside down. We just have quick couple comments I want to share from Candy. She said, this is also tough. Between the isolation and revisiting the pulmonary ICU nursing I did, and the blaring details of her husband's passing from pneumonia last year, everything's really difficult with this. So we really empathize with you. And I mean, that's really hard of how this is attacking.
Kind of rethink the whole solution,
And, just, you never know who it's going to hurt.
Right.
And then Christy is sharing that she just spoke to her children's teacher today, and how everyone's really struggling. And it is, because we just, it's hard. And I feel like you were saying this, I was thinking when this first happened, if we didn't have Zoom, if we had, you remember back in the not the ice age, but ice
when
storm.
I was in school, we had nothing.
Back in my day, we had to walk up Bill Poe's way and milk the cow without a bucket.
Nothing. It would have been phone calls. And my mom would have been busy because I was talking to my friends.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember during the ice storm, a friend of mine, she ventured into town, and then we met up, and I remember just hugging each other because it's like human connection. And then we got in trouble for being out because I was a rebel back then. But thank goodness for the technology today of, not just Zoom, but everything else, like the YouTube channels and all the different things. And maybe after you can share some of the resources that you've seen of what kids can do in videos. Jen is sharing, we as teachers are so compassionate, and sometimes simply making the connections with the students is enough. And I fully believe that. I think teachers are front line.
Yeah, definitely after that first week of all of this happening, myself and a couple colleagues were like, we're all texting and we're like, okay, so how are we going to see them? What are we going to do? Yep. How are we going to make this happen? So we're thinking like, what do we already have that we can put out there so we can like do a video conference, or, and once we all figured out Zoom, we're like, all right, we're on it. We're having these meetings once a week, twice a week, whatever we need to do to see them and just for them to hear our voice. We do daily video greetings. I mean, as much as they get boring, like I was talking to a fellow teacher and I was like, I don't know that I can do another video greeting with this voice anymore. I think they're tired of it. They're tired of seeing me, the same wall. I switch it up. Sometimes I go in my living room. But I mean, I'm sure they're tired of hearing my voice, but it's also nice for them to see that, like, that I want to see them and I want to interact with them. And I'm telling them a little joke or whatever. So.
Jen L sends hearts and says hello, and our friend Amy says hello. So thank you so much for joining us. If any of you have any comments or any of your own experiences with this, please, check in. We're here for you, to be here with you. So we're so thankful that you joined us tonight. And for those that are, will listen to the recording after, we really appreciate the support. I think that was interesting what you were saying is in the counseling world, it was the same thing, because it was just what do we do with all of our clients? And I know the clinics, everyone is trying to figure out, how do we do Zoom, how is this? And there's so many different platforms. I'm in a bunch of online groups, and people were just trying to figure out what one works, what one's manageable. And then I'm sure in the education world too, is what do you do when clients or students or people don't have Wi-Fi, or they don't have a laptop? So how are they going to write a paper? They they might only have one cell phone for the entire family, or they're home and they're trying to work because someone lost a job. And it's really, I think so many of us in the different fields are just trying to figure out, how do we stay safe for ourselves and our families, and for our community, but also still have those doors open of, hey, we're not going in, we're still here.
Right. I think the biggest thing for me, especially because, I'm living this, like you said, as a parent and as a teacher, is I always tell, and we all do, I think, all of us teachers, we all say, you know what, do what you can. No one is holding this over you and saying you have to get this done at this time, because we all understand, like, no one was ready for this. Even in my home, we have this computer that usually my 13-year-old uses. My daughter has a laptop. I have a laptop. But there are days when like my 6-year-old has to use the laptop to do his work. So that means I have to stop doing what I'm doing because the 13-year-old's on the computer. So we kind of find ways to make it work. And our family is fortunate enough where we have enough technology where we're able to do that. And there are some families that aren't able to do that. And I know that there are resources out there that they can probably tap into to get that help, but it takes time. So, we just try to call and make ourselves available as much as possible to kind of help them.
And just reminding them, I think, hey, you're not alone in this. I think is that message. And I was saying to someone the other day, is, I don't know if you've heard that, like you were saying with your students, that, oh, what if I mess this up, or what is, I actually have to remind myself, this is a pandemic. This is a pandemic. Talk about like keeping it simple, because sometimes those expectations of, oh, I should have done this. How did I not have enough toilet paper? Which we'll get into in a moment. I'm still bitter. Like, how do I do this? How do I stay safe? What about all of these things? Like, people in my, circles have lost jobs. So how do we support each other? And then I have to remember the first thing with anything, I have to take a breath. I have to breathe. And I have to remember this is a pandemic. And like you're saying, we've never experienced this.
Yeah. We weren't prepared. There was no way we could be prepared. Like, I have to say, like, when all of this started, the weekend before things really hit the fan, I think we spoke, but I was partying it up. Like, I thought nothing's going to happen. There's no way.
Right.
Like, really? We're going to close schools? Like, that's not going to happen, right? So the weekend before, I had an event to go to that Saturday. I had an event to go to that Sunday. We're good. They're not going to close schools. And then Sunday, I'm at this event, and I get a call. That school's closed. And I'm like, okay, it's all right. They closed schools for a little while. We're going to be back. Kids, we're going to be back. I'm only planning for 2 weeks. We're good, right? And no, it went further than that. And then I really got nervous, especially because my husband works in the healthcare field. Like, he's not out there in the front lines, but, he works in healthcare. And he had been saying for a while, this is bad. This is bad. And I'm like, no, it's not that serious. We are going to be okay. There's no cases here in little old Plattsburgh. We're fine. And he's like, no, this is bad. I've seen people in the hospital. I know that there are cases here. It's not out yet, but this is bad. And I'm like, we're fine. We're fine. Listen.
God, you get committed to something, don't you?
We're fine. Okay? Because we were supposed to go to a Michael Bublé concert. I'm like, he's not going to cancel. We're going to go. It's going to be
Michael
fun.
Won't let you down. He won't let you down.
Fine, right? Well, maybe that's when it really became real too, because he canceled the concert. But I mean,
Bastard.
I was in denial for a little while because I just thought there's no way that this would actually happen. And then I found myself like anxious and waking up every morning and thinking, I think I have a fever. Wait, is that a cold chill? Because I think I have a fever. And taking your temperature several times because you think something is wrong. Like I just spent a week in denial, right? And it takes 2 weeks for this to show up. So I just spent a week in denial and around groups and groups of people. And who knows, I could be carrying something at this point. And I mean, so it really takes a toll. And I feel like I've gone through all of the stages. And right now I'm just at the, okay, I think I can handle this stage. I'm not sure what's next after this stage.
Right.
But I'm trying.
Well, I can totally relate to that. And if anyone else can relate to that, let us know and we'll include you in this. But, I was at the gym the last day and there was like 6 of us in there. I'm like, this is creepy. And then that night, I think it was just leaving the gym. It was like all gyms will be closed by 8:00 tonight. And then I think for me, when the schools closed, I was thinking, this is it. This is hitting. Some of the other stuff had really changed. I just want to share a couple comments. Jen is saying COVID teaching is full time. We make connections with students when it's convenient for them, including Saturdays and Sundays, nighttime. And I've heard that from a lot of, 7:00 at night, because that's when mom and dad are home and their phone is there, or they'll have their iPhone, or, the kids are so little they can't do it on their own. So Emily shares that it's no doubt rough stuff. Glad the points we're making are helpful. Candy shares that her sons and daughter-in-laws tell her how exhausted they are. They work at home normally, and now they have these dynamic children at home. So working from home parents as well, and now working from home and being teachers again. And not just being teachers, but maintaining the safety and wellness of kids who can't go out. And how do you explain it without creating panic?
Right.
But so that they're educated and know, all right, we have some things that we can do to stay safe. But then when they start, I've been hearing that a lot. I don't know what your experiences are. Kids are starting just to kind of, I don't want to say bug out a little, but I think cabin fever.
Yeah, I've noticed a couple weeks ago with my 6-year-old, I did, someone had mentioned the story on YouTube where it's telling a little bear that the world caught a cold and that's why he can't go outside. But once they're better, he'll be able to go outside. And he just didn't understand why he couldn't go to his best friend's house. Like he goes there every day after school. And he didn't understand why we couldn't go, why we weren't seeing them. So I had him watch that video and it helped a little bit. And I still have to explain a lot of things to him. And I have been noticing with our kids at school that it's definitely starting to hit them a little bit. And they're asking, are we going back? But we stay positive. We don't know, but we're hoping so. And we miss you and we can't wait to see you. It's always that perspective talk of can't wait to see you. Oh, when I see you, you can give that to me, or, that type of stuff. But I'm trying to keep it as positive as possible and just letting them know that we're doing this for their health and we can still see each other on video. That's, I honestly, that has been my thing and kind of pushing it along.
Right. Emily shared, it was like the quiet before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Candy just shared, good point. Emotional health of kids is primary. They will read and write, but we want them to feel safe, to be okay, and to be loved.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's really about for me, especially, and all of us. When I say me, like I know that I'm speaking for all of my colleagues out there, fellow teachers, that it's really the emotional health. Like we behind the scenes are feeling, whatever we're feeling with the dynamic that we're dealing with at home. But it's really the emotional well-being and being there for the parents as well.
Yes.
Some of them are like, I don't know how to navigate this stuff. Like even dealing with that with my own husband, where he just said, listen, I don't know how to get to that link, or that link didn't work. So we're done. We're not doing it, and just being there for parents as well. Like, listen, there is no dumb question. Ask away. we're both going through this together. I'm learning with you, and I may send you something that doesn't work because I've been working on it since 1 a.m. Like, who knows, what we're going through. So I'm always, I try to keep myself available in that sense. So, and just let them know it's a learning experience for all of us. Like, we're all feeling all of it. So.
Yeah. And knowing we're going to make mistakes and just doing what we can do to stay safe and stay healthy. And, some of the interventions, I mean, everything that I've seen, I think any suggestion that people have said is limit your social media time and the news. And I find for myself, because the first few weeks, it was very similar to you, overriding anxiety. I would wake up, no matter what time I went to bed, I would wake up really early, such anxiety, such worry, stomach issue, it was just going through my whole system until I found some sort of rhythm.
Right.
And, social media can be great, but it can also be destructive sometimes of panic. But one of the things that was consistent that I saw was what we can do, and that's social isolation. I'm sorry, that's not the right word. That's what we don't want. Sorry. It's Friday night, y'all. Okay. Social. Someone said to me, recently in a training, they never should have called it social isolation. They should have called it physical or separation. So that way we don't have to, staying at home when we can, wearing the masks or covering, washing your hands. And recently in the press, they had a really great article with 3 doctors who are, awesome steps of this is how you can. And for me, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. The article was really great about different things you can do to stay healthy at home. And all of these little techniques and everything that I can do to be healthy for myself, my family, and my community.
Right.
And I thought for a lot of that is, all right, I can do this. I can do this. And that it's not about, it's easy to go in the fear and panic. It's easy to go into the anger, but we're in this together.
Right.
And
the thought of wearing the mask, like, when you had said before, when you're wearing that mask, you're not just wearing it for yourself, you're wearing it for everyone else. Like, we could be carrying something.
Yep.
It's possible that we could be carrying something and showing no symptoms.
Right. So I'm going to share a story because it's Friday Night Feels, so we're going to keep it real. One of the times that I had to check myself was my stress and anxiety was I wasn't even paying attention to it because I'm like, all right, I was going to the grocery store. I got to go in. I was wearing my glasses that day and I had a huge scarf on. So like an idiot, my glasses are fogging up. So of course I get irritated. Like, oh, this stupid virus, because it's not about that, at all. And I remember I was going down one aisle and I needed to get to the eggs. And this woman was just standing in front of the eggs. And I was waiting and she just turned and smiled at me. And I'm thinking, my reaction is, why are you smiling at me? I need to get to the eggs. Like a complete jackass. Luckily I didn't say it, but then I caught myself. I'm like, she was probably just waiting to keep me safe.
Right.
And it was really hard because I had to have kind of like a come to Jesus moment of, I am not being the person I want to be in a pandemic. It's okay that I'm scared. It's okay that I'm stressed, but maybe she needed a smile.
Yeah.
Maybe she needed someone to be, over a mask, which is traumatic for all of us in a way. And just really realizing how important it is for us to check in with ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just going to share. Emily S. is sharing. I struggle with my answers. My daughter has because I never really lived this. I'm 38 years old. She is 16. I've said to her, I don't have the answers, but we will get through this. Positivity. And Kenny Ace threw out a new idea of independent together.
Independent together.
I like that. That could be a t-shirt.
Independent together.
I mean, that could be a song. That could be like our Friday Night Feels song. We're working on it.
We're working on it. A jingle. Work on your jingle.
Jingle, yes. Well, we broke out into musical numbers last time, so Jess and I don't know what might happen this time. It might be the spirit just moving us.
Anything's possible.
So have you experienced that? I mean, I don't want to sound like a lunatic that I'm, lost my shit over, getting eggs. 'Cause, oh, you're a counselor. You're supposed to have these skills. Well, before I'm a counselor, a therapist, teacher, anything else, I'm human.
I'm a person. So, not quite that, but like I know I went to so the first time we had to go to Price Chopper because we were doing Instacart for a while. Shout out to Instacart. But then I was like, I'm tired of paying these fees. Can't do it. Can't do it anymore. So I said to my husband, listen, Price Chopper closes at 8:30. Let's go at 8 o'clock. And we are going to take the store. You're going to go on one side. I'm going to go on the other. We'll meet in the middle. We're done. And I remember, well, it didn't really happen that way because he was like, no, I'm going to walk around with you. Like, whatever. So we end up going down an aisle. And as we're down the aisle, and this is before like they've put in like one way and all of that stuff, but they did have the signs out for social distancing. And someone like came into the aisle that I was in, and I was looking for toilet paper. So I was totally annoyed, right? That the shelf is completely cleared.
I'm still
There's
bitter.
no toilet paper, whatever. So then I'm like looking at cleaning supplies. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get some spick and span for my floors or whatever. And someone like starts coming close to me, and I'm like, oh, and I take my cart, right? And I'm going, and he's like, why are you walking so fast? I'm like, because those people came right up behind me, and I need my space. And he's like, why don't you chill out? Like, you're the only person in the store wearing a mask right now. You have gloves on like a crazy person. Just chill out. Chill out. They're not like touching you or breathing on you. Just chill. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? He's so right. I just need to chill out. But this was like, we were into like week 3. The anxiety was really hitting. And that was my moment of, you just need to chill. You just need to chill. I have found that like getting outside on the days where I feel overwhelmed, I had to get outside and go for walks, walk by the water, anything, because I was probably going to lose it at home. Between back and forth of like dealing with the kids, making dinner, things like that. And then keeping your house clean. I mean, there's toys everywhere because if I'm working on something, I'm like, just go play for a minute. Right. Go use that iPad for the next 3 hours. Like, right. And that sounds so horrible, but I needed that moment. And even when we go outside, all of my time is dedicated on him being outside and riding his bike or writing with chalk because I want to give him that undivided attention, of course. But there are times where I kind of need that away from him.
Yeah, it's nice when you can actually open your window again. It makes a world of difference. So yes. I just want to share a couple comments. Destiny is sharing the social isolation thing really got to me because I was scared to be around anyone. I'm disabled and require a caregiver. That's really scary. You know, I can't imagine. That's really scary when you're dependent on someone.
Yeah. And that person has to come into your home. Yeah, it is very unsettling, definitely.
And we already have one potential order for that t-shirt. Danelle said she would wear that. So we'll work on that, as the show hopefully grows or whatever. I don't know. We'll work on that merchandise. I have a whole bobblehead story, but we'll get into that another night. And Candy is saying, that she can relate a story about the eggs. Like I was sounding like a nurse. It's hard, with the eggs, all of that. And like you said, for you, I feel we're in this human version of Tetris. Mm. And to counteract some of the stress, I pretend the music's going so I don't lose my mind. I'm like, well, she's going down that aisle. I go this way. I'm a much more efficient shopper than I ever was. And I feel,
make a list now.
Yeah.
I make a list.
Yep. And I try to go at different times, respecting. I think it's amazing the creativity that a lot of the stores have had. Obviously, no system is perfect. But some of the, the creativity of, having extra hours for the employees to rest, for the store to replenish, to clean, extra special hours for, the elderly to be able to go in so they can just, breathe and hopefully get some assistance and
Right.
just try to make sure. I think it's nice to go into the store and see that there is toilet paper. That, I'm sorry, that just made me angry. It made me angry. It made me angry for myself, but more than that, it made me angry for the people who, couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And I get fear, I get panic. I know you want your family, but get a grip. I'm
It was
sorry.
too much. It was too much.
It was
And
too
then
much.
at one point, like I remember when we went to buy some, thank goodness I have friends that were like, here, just take a pack. But when I went to buy some, they only had 4 packs. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to be in the store in like 5 or 6 days because there's 5 people in my home.
Yeah.
So, it was frustrating, very frustrating. And then why of all things toilet paper? But we have tons of water. There's tons of everything else except for chicken. You go to Sam's Club and all the chicken was gone, all of it.
No.
But I didn't understand the whole thing with the toilet paper and the mass hysteria of we all need to buy toilet paper.
Destiny is sharing. It feels like living in a warped version of the Jetsons. I actually just said that the other day, Destiny. Connection.
Without the driving cars.
He's actually saying that. That's so weird. And Jess isn't even reading this. We're so connected, Destiny. Okay. He's saying it's like living in the warped version of the Jetsons without the tubes and bubble cars. We need them. Yes. Listen, if they can come out with movies like Iron Man where they can create it, I really believe, Catherine P is saying hello. Hi, Kathy. I'm so glad you could join us. Being able, having a little humor of just time then is like, all right, how do we do this and how do we maintain some humor? I think it's kind of like this, grief. We have to, it's that denial piece, it's acceptance, it's sadness, it's bargaining, it's, and it happens in different ways.
Yeah.
Like maybe for some people it was the toilet paper, it's losing their job, which then leads to a whole
different
plethora of problems. So we're in a pandemic, you lose your job and then you lose your health insurance. It's a whole plethora of problems that we weren't anticipating.
Right.
So let's get into like a little, let's say funner. I'm sorry if my former English teachers are watching. That was like, again, a Friday night slip.
It's
Funner.
Friday.
Really, Jessica? I'm going to get voted off the island.
It's
Let's talk about relationships for a minute, okay? Let's keep it real.
Let's go.
I've been waiting for talk about futuristic movies like more murders within relationships.
Oh.
Jokingly. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they got stuck and, they were so in love and then there was an earthquake and like they ended up hating each other. Of just, it's hard, right? Because yeah, you love this person, but I don't need to see you 24/7.
So I made the comment a couple of weeks ago. Thank goodness my husband is essential and has to go to work every day because I don't know how it would work. First of all, no one needs to see my packages that come every day because I did a little bit of panic shopping, like just a little bit. I may have bought magnetic letters because I felt like I needed to teach my little one a certain way. Whatever. I can justify that. So 1, he doesn't need to see my packages. 2, he is so, like, I am more like, I think with my heart, I'm all about the feels. And he is like, well, where's your plan for the day? What time do you do your morning message? What time do you, I'm like, what do you mean? I had coffee at 8:30. I mean, I'm like, when I feel it, I'm going to send my message. That's what's going to happen. I know I have something to do at 11, but when I feel it, that's when I could do something else. And he's like, you'll never make it in the office. You don't have times written down. I'm like, I can't. You're driving me nuts. Like, I don't live my life like that, okay? Like, I know that
Get you out of my face.
but I can't do this. I can't. So he didn't understand. He was like, this is why you're stressed out, because you don't have like things planned out as time. I'm like, but I don't have times written down, but I know what I have to do today. Like I have a list of what I have to do today. And he's like, well, it's taking you too long. Like you need to dedicate 1 hour to lesson planning, 1 hour to this. And like, it doesn't work like that. But so I'm glad he's not home for those things, because he likes to, you know, he likes his list. He likes everything to be planned for a certain time. He's just, and I'm like, oh, I had that today. Okay, I'll be there. Like, but.
Well, it's hard because this is on a serious note, it's really testing a lot of relationships, I believe. This is all of the outside forces are taken away. So it's who are we? What is our emotional connection? Are we going to work through this crap? Is it going to tear us apart? It's really like a test of time. I've seen some relationships where, they're really stressed, and other ones where they're developing a new connection. And they're able to work on different someone just said, Jen just shared, couples are getting a taste of what retirement is like. Being single is okay. It's all everyone, different flavors of life.
Yeah.
But it's challenging us on so many different ways.
I could definitely see that. I could see where it can be challenging. And I remember talking to my husband and him saying, boy, I bet the divorce rate is going to be up after this whole situation. And like, that is not cool. Like, but it's true. It's true.
Well, it's like, are you saying that about us? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're insinuating?
No,
are you waiting?
He's not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere. He can't go anywhere without a passport. So I mean, like,
when he doesn't know. I've seen some funny memes. People are so creative. Sometimes when you just need a little like dose of sugar and laugh, like I saw this one. I wish I could post it of like, leaving quarantine with all the shit I bought online. It's like, two-headed dog and like a Pope outfit and a snake. It's like
layers and layers of clothes.
I think when I did some retail shopping the other day, stuff that I needed, justification. So I don't really know what will be arriving. I kind of just block it out. But some of those things too of just, hey, someone just said another way that couples, 9 months from now, a whole bunch of babies might be.
Yeah, no.
I've actually heard that it's like, well, burn calories.
Where you tuned in the beginning, I have a 16, 13, and a 6-year-old. My house is full. My heart is full. We cannot fit another person in here. We cannot.
Well, I think I've actually heard that from a lot of people. There might be a little population boom in 9 months.
Yeah, there might be. I'm happy for everyone that can do that. I'm not at that place.
See, it's all about healthy boundaries, Jess. Healthy boundaries. Boundaries, not barriers.
I would love to hold someone's new baby, though. Like, I can't wait to hold a new baby, but I just don't want the baby to be mine right now.
I can handle my dog. She's a little much sometimes. I mean, you've met her. She's a little.
Yeah.
She
likes attention. She likes attention.
She's a hugger. She really is.
Yeah.
One day I'll bring her on the show. You all can meet her. She's sweet. She's a lover.
He's a lover. No, yeah. I would hope, though, it's more of the positive ways that couples are connecting, or maybe during this time they are noticing that there is a little bit of a misconnection, and it's something that they choose to work on, because now is the time to kind of, do some of those things. So, and the fact that we still have counseling available through like phone calls, video conferencing, whatever it is, now is the time to do it if you can.
Yeah, and it's hard. There, so many people. Some of the resistance, and I totally get it. They don't like phone or telehealth services. But I think that's when we have to get over that a little bit and say, what's more important? Is it my emotional well-being, my mental health, my relationship, my kids? Even if it's just a few sessions, just to say it's a transition, and you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
I think, this is forcing us, we have to be adaptable. And, one of the things that I hear in the counseling field, all around is, I think it was that denial piece of, oh, well, I'm just going to hold off, I'll just wait a couple weeks when this is over. That was 5 weeks
Yeah.
ago. It's not over.
Yeah.
So some people can deal without it, and that's fine. But other people, it's just like, hey, we all need it. I think for me, part of my process was I've been staying very busy with different projects, with doing different
Yeah.
things with work. And I was doing this training recently, and it was the first time that everything else shut off. And it was a training, that I'd wanted to do. And it was the first time that I just sat in the sadness for a few minutes of just, this has been a crazy 7 weeks or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just that sadness that I just had to feel. Um, and then, after you let the sadness out, it's like, then I can feel that hope a little stronger. And seeing people's resilience is amazing to me, and it's inspiring. In our community, the different groups on Facebook and in the paper of just
Yeah.
what people are doing. My so and so can't go into public. Who can get them food? Let's get them masks. Let's do this. Like, let's learn how to make masks. I have a traumatic story of learning how to crochet, which I still have
Mhm.
to fix the hole in my wall, which will be another story. So I really appreciate all of the people that have created enough, but it reminds me when I get in that funk of like despair, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
We're not alone.
We're not. And
Um,
all the people who have been making masks and, giving them out to health professionals, to facilities, I mean, that's amazing. And if that's the way for them to kind of cope and deal with some of the things that are happening that they can't control, because of course we have no control over this, what I feel like that's an amazing way to handle it.
yeah. Um, Livy was supporting our idea of having Sally on the show, Animal Power. And Destiny was sharing, the memes can be funny, others can be offensive. I agree with that. Sometimes people kind of cross that line, but that could be just me. I've seen some people getting out groceries using a power scooter, wearing a plastic bag as a mask. Um, that it can be offensive. I've seen that too. Or um, just not making really good decisions
Yeah.
that can be offensive to other people, because that, I think it goes into that whole belief of this is not I think it's beyond denial, that this is not real. It's like when we've lost people in our community, when our local community has struggled with people who are ill, and
Yeah.
then worldwide,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's real. Whether you think, I've heard it from people say, well, I'm healthy, well, I'm happy. That's
Good for
what we want for everyone.
But we want it for everyone. And
Yeah.
you're most likely healthy because you've followed those directions where you've stayed home. You've only gone out when you need to, and you're lucky enough that you're not in a position where you have to be out and working with sick people.
Yeah.
So,
And it's hard because, we're really only just scratching the surface with some of these issues and what people are
absolutely.
going through and what's to come. um but I think, even doing, like, for me, doing the show and doing other things, like, it's just that connection.
And I
And
have to say, what I'm sorry, I
no, go ahead.
the thing that has kept me going is like having my friends, my community. Like I have my girlfriends that we kind of check in and text every day, and just to say, oh, today stinks. I have so many conferences or so many things that I have to do today, or just to say, what happened yesterday, or just to have some like adult interaction other than your spouse.
Yes.
Um, and having my colleagues, we Zoom one night a week,
Okay.
and we all just kind of get together and laugh, and because we're used to seeing each other at work,
Yes.
where we can share those 10 minutes or maybe a lunch break here and there, and it has been really helpful to Zoom with them once a week because what I'm going through, I'm able to share with them, and they can say, yeah, you know what, I felt the same way, or, I did the same thing. And kind of for us all to support each other.
Yes.
So it's been really helpful to have that. And I've actually suggested that for my 16-year-old. I told her, because one of her friends lives like the next street over, and I'm like, call her and go to the window and wave at each other, or like Zoom. And she's like, yeah, I can do that. Like, listen, you have Zoom, get on it, talk to them. Why not?
Yeah.
Or chat on Insta, like whatever you guys do for your connection. But it's okay to video chat with them, because you used to be them at school every day.
It was funny. There was one day where I had to go out and do a couple errands, and I connected to a friend of mine, and they were trying to stay safe, but just getting out. So they were just going for a drive. So we ended up meeting up in a parking lot, both in our, it felt one of the most normal moments in this house, because like I'm on speakerphone, they have the whole family, and we were just laughing and talking. And it was just like what they've been up to in the different projects, and how they're working, and I was able to talk about stuff going on in my life, and it was just fun. We were safe and healthy. We joked about like hand sanitizer, where they got theirs, where I got mine, different things like that, of just trying to be creative.
Because we do need social interaction, and I get the people who are introverts or hermits, and they say, oh, I've been preparing this forever, but we all need some type of interaction.
Yeah. Well, also, and I think what people like that, and I can't speak for all of them, but it's one thing, and I think that's what people are finding, to choose to be an introvert and to be able to stay home. But when you're forced to, it's another level. It's something different.
Absolutely.
So if anyone has any last minute questions or comments, please just let us know. We've got a few more minutes left of Friday Night Feels.
I miss shopping, like real shopping, like going to TJ Maxx.
Yeah. I saw the funniest video the other day. I don't know how to, sometimes I don't know, like on the social media, sometimes I don't know how to censor, you know how I am. But this woman had made this, it was really funny. She's outside, and there was social distancing, or what is it? Wait. I'm going to call this now.
Physical independence?
No, independent together. I like independent togetherness. Let's have the ness. So independent togetherness. She's in a parking lot in front of a TJ Maxx with her music blaring of Celine Dion's All By Myself.
Yeah. I saw that. Or I Will Always Love You.
Yes. Oh, Whitney. Whitney and Celine, they're classics to the end. And I won't try to sing them, not here, but in my own time. I'm rocking with my dog. But you and I also, as we wind down, we've also talked some conversations, in the future, doing another show about some spirituality topics.
Yes. So this has been a time for me more recently. Like I said, this whole thing has been stages for me. And like more recently, within the last couple of weeks, I really decided that I need to focus on my spirituality, because it keeps me going, like more meditating, more, and sharing some of those things with like my 16-year-old that struggles with it a little bit more, but sharing some of those things with her, and some of the things that I do to kind of keep myself sane, I should say. But, sharing some of those practices with her, so that she knows that, I mean, they all know, like, this is what mom does. Like, they understand that, and that this is what we believe in, but it's to make it a part of your daily practice is a totally different movement, and making it a part of your practice and not being forced to do it. Like, not when you're being told we need to do 20 minutes of yoga, or we need to do a family meditation, like, not that type of deal where you find like the peace that you need within it. So we've been doing some reading. Like, I joined a book club. I, joined like a book club through this yoga studio in Vermont. And that has really helped, because I've been able to share and finding those similarities in the books that we're reading. And like, obviously they not about like this type of situation, but just how we travel through life and how we react to the things that happen in our life. And looking back on those things and thinking, how can I handle that the next time? Or how can I change my attitude for the next time? So like connecting to my spirituality has really, really helped through a lot of this.
Right. I found for myself that when I started listening to the fear and bringing in my own spiritual practices, and for me, part of that was honoring myself and what my feelings were. It really opened the doors to a lot of healing that I didn't realize I needed.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the more I paid attention, the more it was kind of, the universe, let's say, was saying, use this time because there's some stuff that needs to be understood and some stuff that needs to be healed.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, that will be one of our future shows that I look forward to having you back on. So this has been so much fun. I love spending quality times with you. I miss you.
I may walk by your house and like say, come to the window.
I know. Well, we got to talk because I had a really great experience with some chicken wings the other day, so we got to chat some recipes. You know how I am about food. Too much. It's food, not love. But anyway, this has been another episode of Friday Night Feels. We'll be doing it in 2 weeks, and Kristen Dar will be joining us from Pure Haven and talking about some of their products and how their products can be helpful during the pandemic and before and after. So if you like the show, just let us know. Send us messages. This will be recorded again and posted on my Facebook. So I hope everyone that watches it is staying safe and has a wonderful weekend. And Jess, thanks for being my co-host tonight.
No problem. Stay
All right, let's
healthy.
Yes. And let's figure out if I can figure out how to stop this. Oh my gosh, I can't even